Hey everybody, the Brian Kylinger with Northeast Big Buck Club. I'm with Scott Spaid. We're going to do his buck that he killed from this year from November 7th, 2022. It's a typical 8-point. It's got 22 and 21 inch main beams, over 3 inch brow tines, 9 inch G2s, and a 3 inch and 5 inch G3. And combined, it's got a little over 24 inches of mass for a total combined score of 122 and 3/8. So we're going to have Scott tell a little bit about the day he killed this deer, and then we'll wrap up.
Well, it was in the morning on November 7th, as you said, and it was about 10:15 in the morning, and I caught movement behind me about 75 yards, and I just saw a glimpse of antler, and I'm sure it wasn't this buck, but he was going down and trolling into some bedding areas and stuff, and I tried calling at him and wasn't sure whether he heard me rattling at him or not, or grunting, but it was probably 10 minutes later. There was a doe that come up out of the bottom, and he was following her, and there was another half rack, 4 on, that was actually with him, and the doe come right up underneath me at 12 yards, and he stood back, and he was kind of looking up into my stand, and I think at one point or another he must have saw me climbing up in my stand or climbing down, but there was something about the stand that he did not like, and I have my stand actually wrapped in like camo tarp, and it was a little bit windy that day. I knew I had the wind in my favor. I knew he couldn't smell me, but there was something about that, and maybe the tarp was blowing a little bit in the wind, but there was something about it that he didn't like, and he stayed back, and he was facing me, and he was probably out there about 25 yards, and he kept coming a little bit closer, but he kept facing me, and I just wasn't sure. I was certain I was going to get a shot at him, but the way he was acting, I've hunted long enough, I just wasn't sure I was actually even going to get a shot at him. And he got within 12 yards and was still looking right up at me, and I knew I had the wind in my favor, and at 10:30 in the morning, the sun was kind of, he was kind of looking up into the sun. He was looking for something. He couldn't smell me. I don't know what it was, but he finally put his head down and followed the same path that the doe was, and he got his head back behind a tree, and I was able to get on him at that point. And as soon as he came back from the tree, he looked right back up at me, and I'm looking at him, and I was sure he was bigger than this. He did actually have considerably ground shrinkage. I've never really experienced that, but this was the first one, and let me tell you, when you're looking up at him at 12 yards and he's looking up at you and you don't know if you're going to get a shot or not, he definitely looked bigger. And he came out on the other side, and he took 2 little leaps and stopped and was quartering away from me and turned around and looked back up at me one more time, and I let him have it, and he went 60 yards and he went down. He didn't go any further than that, but I hit him a little bit further back than I wanted, but he was angling away, and my shot angle was kind of narrowing at that point, but I think I paced it off at about 18 yards or so, and but he just made the one mistake as far as stopping and looking back over his shoulder that one time, and I was lucky enough to get a shot off on him.
And I know you said you'd seen this deer the year prior.
Passed up on him. Actually did not pass him up. This right here, he did not have this, and I actually missed him on the first day of rifle season last year, and he came in, and this is the only side that I could see, and my son was with me, and I was giving him every opportunity. He wasn't showing any of this side, and I know he was 4 at this side. I seen him in archery season, saw him in rifle, but he did not have that point. So he went from a 17-inch 7-point to about a 20-inch 8-point, in the 1 year and stuff, and had a clean miss on him in rifle season, and I'm certain I know he's a local buck. I had probably more trail camera pictures of him than I had any other buck that I had, and it's easy to kind of stay up on stand and pass other buck up when you know that he's still on his feet and you haven't heard of any of the neighbors, kind of shooting him either. So
yeah, and I said we were talking. This is your either 3rd or your 4th buck for the Northeast Big Buck Club, and all of them have been in the 120 range, 122, 125, 127. and all really have kind of the same frame, the same
Yep.
wide spread, and good G2s, good G3s. But we appreciate you bringing it in and sharing it with the NBBC. For me personally, this is my 400th deer I've scored for the NBBC.
Awesome.
So that's that's a fun thing. But if you have a buck you want scored for the Northeast Big Buck Club, I'm Brian Kyler. You can get in touch with me. You can leave a comment below. And we'd like to congratulate Scott on another great Pennsylvania typical whitetail. And you can get more from the Northeast Big Buck Club or from my website. This is Brian Kyler. Have a good day.